I really love springtime. It's a magical time of the year. All those little buds that have been developing over the winter time start to swell and start to unfurl, and those little leaves pop out. Magic, pure magic. Of course, the downside is that I've got loads of trees that need repotting, and I need to do those before those buds start to unfurl. And this is one of them. This is a hornbeam that I've been growing for a long time, many, many years. And it's kind of just borderline now. I went out this morning to have a look through the trees, through my bonsai, and I thought, ooh, I've got to get this one done. It hasn't been repotted for a few years, so it does need doing, and I've got just about enough time to do it now. So I've allowed today and tomorrow to get all of the root work done before the buds start to swell anymore and before they start to open up, and then it's too late. So I've got to get stuck in, get the roots out, see what's going on in there, and we've got some pruning to do and some tidying up to do as well. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So let's get stuck in. Before I start on the root ball, I've got to just have a tidy up around here. The hornbeam is very good at throwing out branches sort of all over really. And it is something which can add a lot of character. I don't necessarily always need these sorts of little branches around here, but it is an opportunity sometimes to add in little character lumps and bumps, and maybe those sort of features which we see on older trees. But I don't actually need any of this here, so I'm going to prune these out. I've got a lovely start to the bonsai, it's a lovely flow, and we've got some lovely branches which just sort of come down into this space. So this is very busy. So I'm going to remove all of this, and then I can start working on removing the root ball from the pot. All I have to do now is to work my way around the outside of the root ball along the side of the pot, as you can see here, with my trusty old potting scythe, which I've used many times before. It's just a process, just keep working my way around and around and gradually working the blade deeper and deeper. The important thing here, or the trick of this tool, is not to push too hard or too deep. Just keep gently working its way around and around the pot, gradually getting deeper and deeper. We also use an old pruning saw, and what I find is that as the blade gets deeper, it gets clogged in the soil, the loose soil around it. So by using this old saw blade, I basically am cleaning the old soil. I'm not really cutting through the root as such, just cleaning the old soil out of it. It's a good way of sort of raking out the soil. The other thing that I do regularly is just to clean away the excess soil, the soil that's mounded up on the rim of the pot or actually on the soil surface. And this stops it from just falling back down in the gap and clogging up the blade again. I knew that this was going to be a long process, and I knew it was going to take me about a day to get this tree out of the pot. I think it took about 6 hours roughly to actually get the root ball separated and be able to lift the tree out of the pot. This is me just testing to see whether the root ball was even remotely loose. I knew it wouldn't be, but I just had to give it a go in the hope that I was close. No chance. Back to it. At last, mission accomplished. So that's one part of the repotting bit, getting the tree out of the pot. And now on to the next bit. Let's get some roots sorted. So as you can see, I've taken off all the outside roots and underneath. And actually what I've had to do is to use a very sharp saw and just very carefully cut my way around the root ball and underneath. The root ball was very solid and there's no way I would be able to tease it out. So I used the extreme method, cutting it down with a very sharp saw and then basically going through and just very carefully washing out all the soil that's around these roots here, and then trim back any damaged roots, broken roots, with a nice pair of sharp scissors and cutters so that the roots are nicely cleanly cut. Now, I didn't really want to show you the potting process on that. That's not what I really wanted to show you with this bonsai. What I wanted to show you was this bit here, and there's another branch which needs sorting out. For the past few years, I've been looking at this, the start of the bonsai, and I do like this, and there's some really nice sort of muscling shape going on around here. Looks like I need to do a bit of cleaning on this bit. I must admit, I haven't cleaned it up as much as I would do normally. I've really concentrated on just getting the roots done because the buds are moving very fast and I want to just get the roots pruned and I want to get it in the pot, some fresh soil, so that the buds can carry on opening up and not get too stressed. So I have neglected other parts of the bonsai, such as cleaning up all around here. Normally I spend quite a lot of time sorting that out, but I'm running out of time. So what I really wanted to concentrate on showing you is this area here. I've always had a bit of a problem with this root. And over the past few years, the tree has grown on really nicely. And around here, and I'll bring you in and give you a close-up, this has really got some character and it's swollen up really nicely. We have this root here and it comes down and goes underneath this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this root. It's a big root, but now's the time to do it because around here I've got some really nice shape, and by taking off this one I can expose what's going under here, what's really happening, and get some of that shape out, some of that real character to show through. So that's what I'm going to do now. Normally I would use a saw to cut through something this sort of size, but I have a problem with using a saw, you know, one of those little folding saws, because if I'm cutting here I might be able to get a little bit done, but I don't want to nick or damage the actual trunk underneath, so you end up with a sort of a straight scar. This is really lovely. I've got to be really careful. So I'm going to have to just nibble away at this with a pair of cutters and just do it gradually. Well, that's good. We've actually cut through here, and this root, where it's crossing this root, it has started to join, started to graft together, but it is actually still loose. It always surprises me how many years it takes for two parts of the tree, whether it be branches or roots, just naturally fuse together. But this is not fused, so that's great. Don't have to do any work down here. Maybe a little bit of tidying up afterwards, but it's not fused together, so that's good. So all I've got to do now, you can see that that is loose, and I've got to separate this bit now from the soil. I mean, here's an opportunity, I suppose. There's an opportunity in as much that if I was to cut this off here, this would obviously grow. If I was to cut out the root ball and plant that, that might be an idea actually. If I can carefully remove this from this part of the root ball, I could plant this and let it regrow to the start of a new bonsai. Now that sounds exciting. Let's give it a go. Okay, so that was great. So I put it back in so you can just see it with and without. And I think that looks really good. This shape down here, and obviously we've got to clean up this cut here. We have got to remove some of the soil around here. Normally I would do this first, but I am doing it a bit back to front at the moment. Okay, so let's crack on and get this tree into a pot. Good, roots are all sorted, back into some soil. Now the next thing is obviously to clean up this bit here. Do a little bit of work around here, a little bit of carving, make that look good, make it look natural, and blend it in a bit better, and then we can work our way up. So we are at a point now where we've gone in quite a lot. We've taken off the bit that came out here, and we've now starting to see a lot of the shape and character around this bit here. And the further that I go in, as in that way, the more of this we will see. So we'll lose some of this top bit. We could just leave that bit there and go in a bit more. Got a lumpy bit here, so that needs to go in so it's quite nice and flush with this bit. We've got to allow for the tree to heal and for the scar tissue to start to roll in. So we need a nice dish shape here. And of course, there's the other thing is that when we are viewing it, and I'll turn it a little bit, so coming from the viewing side, pretty much there, I think you're looking at it. We don't want to carve too much into here and lose too much of this side. So we can't go any wider, maybe a little bit more off the top here to allow for the scarring to roll in. Because if I leave it there, it will still come out a little bit. And same down here. So I'm going to go in a little bit and then we can work our way in and we can just do it bit by bit until we know that we're not going to take off too much here and it's going to make a nice hole there, and allowing for the scarring tissue over the next few years. Time to get the gouge out. I just wanted to show you an example of the tree rolling in. So when I carved this one out about 25 years ago-ish, somewhere about that, I made sure I left a little bit of shape on the actual outline of the carving and allowed plenty of room for the tree to do this lovely rolling in. And the best way to learn about this sort of things obviously is to go out and have a look at full-size trees, whether it's just a branch which has fallen off, been removed and it's healing over, or it's a big hollowed old trunk like this. And actually this particular bonsai is the one that I will be working on next in my next video. It's a Japanese maple, and there is some cleaning up to do, but there's also some branches which need removing and a little bit of tweaking here and there and a bit of twig pruning. So if you want to watch me doing that, then subscribe and hit the notification button and then you won't miss me doing that. So back to the main video. I'm happy with this now. I haven't smoothed it all out because obviously it doesn't need to be smooth, and it might be that I will carry on doing some work in here over the next few years. It doesn't have to be done now. I just need to make sure that this bit here where the cambium layer is can start to heal up, and I've gone in fairly close, so I've carved quite closely up to the cambium layer. Not right up to it, need a little bit of sapwood there, so that when the tree starts to heal, it can roll into, so the scar tissue rolls in, and that looks really lovely. I've allowed for that. I don't want it completely round and oval. I want it to be a little bit shapely. Might just go around and touch up a few little bits, but for now that's pretty good, and the tree can heal up. Well, that does look so much better. I think the start of this tree now, the start of this bonsai looks so much better without that big root dominating it. Anyway, we've run out of time now, so we're going to have to split this down into 2 parts, unfortunately. So don't miss part 2, where we can work on some of the branches up there. We've got some big branches to take off. And so subscribe, hit the notification button, and you won't miss part 2. Okay, so I'll just put that down there.